Guess what? We are basically 3 weeks into 2022, and I'm a flop. I was going to do a K-pop 2022 predictions video, but I flopped and didn't do it on time. So now I'm going to convert it into my little list of who is going to dominate this year. I have some really interesting predictions that you might not be expecting, in addition to, some obvious choices. So I hope you'll enjoy. And if you disagree, feel free to leave tons of comments with your thoughts. And please don't hate me. I'm literally just trying my best. It's a work night. I just wanted to film this and stop being a procrastinating flop. My predictions are in 3 categories: definitely, likely, and maybe. I'm not going to cover every group that will do well because I simply don't know every K-pop group ever, and I definitely skew more in favor of girl groups, so sorry boy group stans. Some of you will get your bag here, but not all of you. Also, there are no real criteria for what will or won't be dominating. In a way, I think it has to do with the impact that they'll leave with their music. Will it be a digital success? Will it pull in a huge fandom? Will it start a huge TikTok trend? Anything and everything is fair game. Also, I just want to add that, of course, as a disclaimer, the concept of blowing up or being successful or dominating in a certain year is really stupid and ultimately is just BS. It doesn't matter whether your faves are stagnant, successful, not well known. You should love the music you love and love the groups you love. It doesn't matter at all. This is just for fun because, predicting what kinds of trends will come up and, who might unexpectedly become a big hit overnight is just really interesting to think about. So this video is kind of more aimed at that kind of thinking. But if that's not your thing, I totally get it. I'm going to go in no particular order, but without further ado, let's get started. Definitely aespa. I think this is obvious. Their literal cover song is charting in the top 10 right now, and it wasn't even a real comeback. Their previous songs have been so popular, and I have full confidence saying that they will dominate this year. I also think their international popularity is going to grow even more than it already has. I think their target international market is definitely the US. SM has made clear that that's what they want for them, and I think they're really going to become one of the biggest girl groups in the US, right by Blackpink and Twice. So I'm really excited to see what they do this year. Definitely Blackpink. Another obvious one, a Blackpink comeback is a whole cultural moment of its own. I do wonder how the Teddy formula will hold up in 2022 after years of recycling, but as someone who never really got tired of it, I'm not worried myself. I won't go into more depth on this because, it's true, it's gonna happen. Likely G-Idol. I think this might be one of my more unexpected ones because I think people haven't been talking about them for a while. In all the hype that awesome girl groups like IVE and aespa and stayc and all the other 4th gen girl groups have created, I think people have forgotten that the 4th gen really kind of started with G-Idol, and they've been one of the heaviest hitters of the 4th gen for a while now. Even with all their scandals and Soojin gone, I think there is a huge opportunity for them to return, especially with Miyeon as center. I think Miyeon has become a lot more popular among Korean fans for being one of the top visuals, so I think with her as center and Soyeon's reliable songwriting skills, I trust that they'll actually make a really strong comeback and have a complete revival after the scandals of last year. Likely TXT. Putting TXT in the likely category is probably controversial because I imagine most people think they should definitely be in the definitely category. Here's the thing though, TXT is by far my favorite boy group in a long time. They're up there with BTS and SHINee as my top 3 favorite boy groups. Still, I do think they haven't reached their full potential, and TXT is kind of still finding their style, and if they do stick to it and really lean into it, I think they could blow up with a strong digital performance both in Korea and abroad for the first time, and really put themselves at the center of K-pop. That being said, I think if they stray from their concept too much or play it too safe, it might not have that impact that I really think they could. Definitely IVE. Another super obvious one, if you ask me. IVE really destroyed it for an end-of-year debut, and I see nothing but success in their future. I also think, in addition to the really strong Korean popularity they already have, this group is clearly aimed at Japan in some ways as well, and I think they'll really win there whenever they decide to start debuting. So, I'm calling it now. Likely JYP's new girl group. To be honest, I probably should put this into definitely, but I won't take such a big bet on a yet-to-be debuted group. But let's be honest, this group will probably win. To anyone who is confused why I'm so sure of this, tell me, when has a JYP girl group flopped? Especially on their debut. I'm talking Wonder Girls Tell Me, Miss A Bad Girl Good Girl, Twice Like Ooh Ah, Itzy Dalla Dalla. Another song within that lineage is going to absolutely murder. I haven't even looked into the members that closely, considering many or all of them have been revealed already, but I almost feel like I don't need to right now because I know that JYP always wins with a new girl group, and I'll be obsessed, and probably everyone else will be soon enough. Maybe Key. So for any of the new stands here, Key is a member of SHINee, and he's arguably the one who's most in the media these days in Korea, given that he's really active on variety shows. Even though he's somewhat of a controversial figure, I think in SHINee, it's pretty clear that Taemin is usually the one who has the biggest impact with solo music, but Taemin's currently enlisted, so I feel like a majority of that investment will go to Key instead. His digitals have climbed a bit since his last comeback, so I think with the right investment and the right song from SM, we might see him have a bigger impact. But I'm really not sure about this one yet, so it's a maybe. Maybe stayc. So here's the thing, I love stayc. They're my favorite 4th gen girl group. And I love Stereotype personally, but I think it didn't follow up on the explosive success of ASAP in the way they might have predicted themselves. I have full faith in these girls and their management and production. I mean, the guys that produced all of Twice's hits are their main producers and CEOs. I'm not worried about the music quality, to be honest, but more that the competition is so tight in the 4th gen. I'm not sure if stayc will really come out as a winner against these other groups who are also super strong and popular. That being said, I'm rooting for them and I believe in them, and really hope that Black Eyed Pilseung, their producers and CEOs, can prove me wrong and make stayc the huge star they deserve to be. Likely, Treasure. I don't know much about Treasure, but I'm gonna go out on a huge limb and say that they are a likely success this year. When they had such a long absence, I was kind of worried that they would be forgotten, and honestly, they kind of have been. I think the conversation around top 4th gen groups does not at all include Treasure at this point. But if there's one thing about YG, it's that they give their male artists a lot of attention, for better or for worse. YG has already announced that this next comeback is going to be large scale, and I really trust YG to hit when they try. So I'm going to place my bets on Treasure and see if they can really succeed and pull out all the stops this year, but only time can tell. Definitely NCT. This is another one that doesn't need too much explanation. You know, NCT has been on such a roll. The members are more popular, their digitals are up, their physicals are insane, they're so popular internationally. I can't imagine NCT not pushing their limits and being even more successful this year. Maybe ITZY. ITZY is another 4th gen girl group that I think is being choked by the competition. Their last singles were great, but didn't live up to the expectations and hype that I think they built with their previous songs. I'm wondering whether ITZY can pull out a huge hit this year. If they can, I think they will easily retake their spot as the powerhouse 4th gen girl group, but it depends on whether that is the angle JYP does want to take with them. Things are kind of up in the air for them, and I'm not sure what direction they'll go in. So I think 2022 will be really make or break. Definitely IU. There's really not much to say, like, nothing, actually. Like, if you're hoping to be number 1 on the charts when IU drops, give up. I think the only single I really liked from them last year was The Feels, and they similarly haven't been scoring as well on charts or that kind of trendy public popularity they used to have. That being said, I think they're growing more popular in the US and could still pull out a huge hit. The worry, though, is that their contract renewals are coming up this year, and we really don't know what will happen. My personal bet is that almost all members, if not all, will renew, but who knows? To be honest, I think Twice is still untouchable, and I'm hoping for, above all, some subunit and solo promotions from them, but we'll see what happens. Definitely Taeyeon. I do think I'm pretty safe in asserting that Taeyeon will be successful this year. Her pre-release single is already charting well, and I'm sure her full album will be a hit. With full albums in particular, Taeyeon is always impeccable. My Voice is probably one of my all-time favorite albums ever, and Purpose is such a gorgeous follow-up. I really think Taeyeon is one of the most musically coherent and dependable artists when it comes to studio albums, so I'm so excited for this, and I'm predicting success for her. Maybe Girls' Generation. So this is my Delulu 2nd gen stan coming out, but I'm trying to manifest a 15th anniversary Girls' Generation comeback. I don't know if it will happen, but if it does happen, I do think it'll be a pretty big deal. I don't think GG has the same pull that they once did maybe a decade ago, but I think it would still be a big event in the K-pop world, even if they don't really promote it. Maybe Brave Girls. I'm obsessed with Brave Girls, you guys. They are easily my favorite girl group of the moment, and I've been obsessed with them since Rollin' blew up. I stan them so hard, you have no idea. I don't know if they will drop another huge explosive hit like that, but I do hope that they will continue to drop music and, their fans and other casual listeners can enjoy it, because I really do love their music. And now that they've made a name for themselves, I'm sure anything they drop will still be relatively successful, even if they don't have a huge Rollin' 2.0 movement. Definitely BTS. To end on a high note, the album is coming. Like, it's gonna eat. If you're dropping at that time, run. So those are a ton of my major calls right now, but I'm sure we'll all be surprised, so there's probably stuff I'm missing. Let me know who you think is going to blow up. I'm really curious to hear other people's predictions, because it's always so cool when people have a lot of knowledge that, I don't. Definitely leave a comment with your predictions so, everyone can credit you if you're right. Thanks for watching, and happy super belated New Year.